Hey, it's Andrew, and this is the prototype that I created for my capstone. This is in ThingLink, and ultimately, I think that this did a really cool job of trying to convey what I was wanting to share with my capstone in a relatively innovative way. So the way that ThingLink works is you can see that all of these little dots jump to different things that give you a little bit more information. So if you hit the dots on each of these kids' heads, it says some more stuff about them. So over here on Alex's head, you can see a graph about growth and student agency. Over on hers, it talks about growth and knowledge and thinking. Over on the other Alex's head, it talks about autonomy and their perceptions of it. Um, Up here, it's info on the student reflections. Over here, I have some pieces that aren't yet working. How to get mentors. For the authentic forum, it's actually a Bitly link that you can click to, and it goes to this Napa Valley Register article about the project that gives a little bit more information about the students' work, and ultimately what they did and what it was for. And then over here, I'm still working on getting all of the feedback that one of my students collected, so that I can connect it to the authentic client stuff. And then also, we'll be getting reflections from teachers at a conference that I will be sharing this stuff at with in during summer. So I like ThingLink because it does a really cool job of really collecting a lot of different pieces of information and then sharing it visually. And there are a whole lot of ways in which this itself and the way that I'll be moving forward with my capstone really owe a lot to 702. First, 702 kind of inspired me to continue to look for different ways in which I can use graphical representations of stuff in the classroom, and that's really how I was able to find ThingLink to begin with. But also, you'll notice over here that there's these infographic components over here, and these are directly from an activity that we did for 702 in Pictochart. So obviously that has lent itself pretty clearly in this project. Um, as far as moving forward, I was approved to share my capstone project and how it connected to agency and how I was teaching agency to my senior class at a conference this summer. Um, and since doing the lesson where we were looking at screencasts, and since I've had the chance to make some screencasts and make some screencast lessons for my students, I've been thinking that really my next steps are that I'm going to make some screencasts about how I set up the calendar for this project that the capstone was about, and also how I ended up creating documents to allow students to use to guide themselves throughout the project, so that I can take these screencasts and actually give them as resources to the people in the session. And that way, they won't just have to rely on what they remember from the session in order to have artifacts from the project itself to sort of remember the important pieces in order to build their own. Um, One of the major components of this project itself was trying to allow students to have an authentic place to advocate for themselves and show their own work. And I've been thinking a lot recently about how social media can really be used for that, especially since we had the opportunity to really debrief and discuss, how social media should be used with students and how schools should be working with social media. Um, and actually, I have been having students develop portfolios, and really, it's a graduation requirement for our school. Um, but using student work and promoting their own things that they're doing that they're particularly proud of in these portfolios. And so I've had an opportunity to really take advantage of the digital citizenship that we really started this class out doing to help teach them how they can be able to use their portfolios to promote themselves. And I think those same sorts of things are going to end up finding themselves in the way in which I will teach students how to use social media in the future in order to leverage that as an authentic forum.